breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty. Mornings on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay.
Who'd you tick off?
Who didn't I tick off?
You're very good at it.
I am very good at it. I'm going to start with somebody I ruffled some really, really big feathers. And, I'm kind of glad I did. Welcome back, Mikey Poo. Are we early? Yeah, we're on.
Are we early?
We're on. The Caddo Parish Commission has a resolution on their agenda this week in support of the Friends of Fairgrounds Field.
I saw something about that. I've been out of town, but I did see.
So I'm going to catch you up a little bit. It is, it's not binding. It doesn't tell the city to do anything. It just says, let's take a look at it. Is there something we can possibly do? Yeah, pony up the money.
Right.
Why are you getting involved in city council business? This is city business.
I agree. My next question was, can the parish commission tell the city what to do?
Let's let the city tell the commission how to run the animal shelter. Let's let the city council pass a resolution and tell you how often you should spray for mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Let's see how far you love that. So I went on a little rage yesterday about this, and the resolution has been presented by the commission president, John Paul Young, and methinks I ruffled a little feathers.
This resolution was discussed on KEEL this morning. I was doing a public gardening project and got a text from my father that said, they're talking about you on KEEL, they're talking about your resolution. And I thought, how odd, because Ms. Erin McCarty has my phone number and didn't contact me to know what I was thinking. Instead, contacted another commissioner to find out what I was thinking, which just seems like the wrong way to go about things. If you want to know what someone's thinking. So I have texted Erin McCarty, but I'll also say to you now, Erin, please give me a call next time you wonder what I'm thinking, and I'll be happy to talk to you. That would be the courteous thing to do, and I will be happy to be courteous back. Thank you.
I was not talking about what you were thinking. That was not my discussion. I contacted Grace Ann Blake on a short notice. That's a long story. It's inside baseball. And she agreed to jump on the air with us, but I wasn't asking her what you were thinking. I wanted to know, will it pass? Does it have a chance of passing? That was my whole question. And why is the commission getting involved in business? Now, John Paul Young and I have connected. He can't join us today. The courteous thing is to join us tomorrow, I guess. I'm joking. That's a joke. Don't take it so seriously.
Boy, I take a few days off and come back jumping right into it here.
Wow.
And I do have an old number for him, by the way. No, I did not try to text him. It was a last minute jump on the phone with us, Grace Ann, real quick, because I'm like, did not realize I was going to do the interview, so I did. She was the one I could get the quickest, I knew, so that's what I did. I'll leave that at that. Something else was going on behind the scenes. Ruben knows. But anyway, I will be happy to have you on the show. You can come in person if you'd like.
Sure.
And discuss why all of a sudden this is such a big deal. This was proposed to be torn down under the Perkins administration. We hired a demo contractor. They started work. And then we stopped it because of a legal feud. Where was your resolution then? If it's so important to you now, where was your resolution 2 years ago?
Literally days before demolition is to begin.
Yes. And he took a little swipe in the news, you'll hear. He took a little swipe at the elders who run Shreveport City government. He called the Shreveport City leaders elders. I was like, wow. That was kind of cold.
Well, no, I don't. That's just that's city
Respect,
elders.
Okay,
that's a phrase. That's not a
as they ought to know, as the elders who run our city government ought to know. I don't know.
Well, I don't. That's just city elders.
Okay,
That is a term.
all right.
Of
My feathers are
leaders.
ruffling too much?
On that, I'll say that's yeah. Now the other, I don't know. I've been
phone blew
gone.
up.
I've been out of town.
I'm trying to take a nap, and when I wake up, my phone is blown the hell up. Hope your ears were burning. Were your ears burning? Did you watch the commission meeting? Oh, Lord have mercy. So John Paul Young will join us tomorrow morning, 8:10. Let's get to the bottom of why his resolution now. Why now? Why not 2 years ago? Why not 3? Why not 10 years ago?
Okay, so the resolution again says?
To show support for the Friends of Fairgrounds Field, essentially.
Okay.
It doesn't say do anything. It doesn't say, it doesn't, it has no teeth, obviously.
Right.
But
right.
it's a little jab to me at the city council and at the mayor. It's a little bit of a jab. And I don't think the city council gets involved in commission business. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the council passes resolution supporting things the commission's doing. But the council doesn't pass resolution essentially opposing things the city's doing.
Look, I'm opposed to tearing down Fairgrounds Field. That would be, if somebody were to ask me, that would be my position. Mm-hmm. But that's based on nostalgia, okay?
Sure.
Quite frankly, because even when the mayor was in here, he said we couldn't bring another minor league team in here because even if we fixed that stadium up with new seating, it's not up to professional baseball standards
it's
in
obsolete.
2024.
Yes, it's obsolete.
It cannot be used for professional baseball.
That's
even
not
on a
what they
AAA or a AA level.
Absolutely.
The Shreveport Captains were a AA ball club. Mm-hmm. It couldn't even work for that today.
No.
So, and though I may be opposed to the demolition, I'm not bringing $10 million to the table. Go, here's my solution.
And if I were the Caddo Commission and I really wanted to save Fairgrounds Field, I'd say, hey, Mayor, we got $5 million for you. Here you go. Let's save it.
I mean,
it doesn't come with any cash.
In Friends of Fairgrounds Field, I salute you. I salute your efforts and your heart, but you're not bringing money to the table.
Right.
Go get sponsors, bring $20 million to the table. Mm-hmm. And then you've got clout with the city.
I know. John Paul Young, tomorrow morning, 8:10. Should be fun. Looking forward to it.
I got to write that in my book. Okay.
Yeah, write that in your book.
I'm going to be like Obama and go on an apology tour for
Yeah. I got to hear a little inside your house or where you were when LSU beat Ole Miss. Can we talk about that when we get back?
Oh, my God.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's good to be back. 101.7 FM, sort of, 710 KEEL.
Back with more of Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
So, wait, did LSU play? By the way, number 8 now.
Oh, yeah.
They've moved up after knocking off Ole Miss.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law stopped by. I was at Micah's house. Dina's there. And he stopped by, and we were talking and visiting. I think it was Sunday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, in the game, and because they mentioned the game, and I went, and holy cow.
Yeah.
And he goes, I haven't watched it yet. I don't know.
Sunday?
Yeah, he was waiting till he got home.
How does he stay away from anything?
I don't know.
Man. Oh,
so
wow.
I was like, okay. I was trying to back up my enthusiasm. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron, oh, my gosh.
So exciting. And the fans stayed till the very last, and they needed to.
LSU fans never stay.
No.
We're notorious for
failing.
Leaving.
Big time.
When I drive to Baton Rouge, and a buddy of mine has season tickets, I don't get his tickets, but if we get tickets, we're tailgating.
Right.
as long as we can. And so we're there. I'm like, I'm not leaving early. Even if we're getting blown out or we're blowing somebody out.
Right.
I'm staying. It's an experience.
Yeah.
After the game, we go back to the tailgate, fire the grill back up again, let the traffic get away, and enjoy the late game on the satellite.
Watch the people. Yeah, it's a blast.
Yes.
It was just, but I'm telling you, during the game, I think it was my top sausage ball flying game. I think it's
I'm blown away. That they pulled it out.
I really am.
I had no expectations.
And that Dart kid, I mean, we all know he's a monster, and their offense is notorious. Our defense showed up. We finally have a defense. Where have they been?
I said, my buddies were texting. I said, thank goodness the defense showed up. Because I think we had, 80 rush yards for the game? I mean, it was absurd.
It really was. It really was.
We could not. And as good as Nussmeier is, he was not Saturday night.
No.
He was just
not till
slinging.
the end. Right at the end, it was like.
When it counted.
Razor sharp.
But I mean, Lacey had one catch until the fourth quarter. I mean, it was just odd. It was an odd game offensively for LSU.
And we were beat up, and I understand that. And we are now. I mean, we're poised for pretty. Now we still have a gauntlet. Don't get me wrong. We have a major SEC gauntlet ahead.
But Ole Miss was ranked.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alabama doesn't look as sharp as they used to.
No. Alabama is definitely fallible very easily. Mm-hmm. But it's given them, I mean, I would think you could look at that game and go, we can do this.
Yeah.
No matter who you're facing now. Mm-hmm. Even when your offense is just stinking up the joint for 3.5 quarters.
I'm going to read something to you, college football-wise, and I want you to react to this. This is probably the first time you've heard about this. Maybe not. I don't know if you watched Ohio State and Oregon.
I watched a little bit of it. I did watch a little bit.
Oregon upset number 4 Ohio.
Right.
Well, Oregon, they were both undefeated, so it was a big game. Oregon had 12 men on the field in their win over Ohio State late in the game. The resulting penalty caused precious seconds to wind off the clock. It turns out they did it on purpose. Oregon's coach, Dan Lanning, confirmed the Ducks purposely put 12 men on the field following a timeout, resulting in an illegal substitution penalty. Because it was a live ball penalty, Ohio State lost 4 seconds off the clock down to 6. Buckeyes quarterback, if you saw the ending, he scrambled up the middle on the ensuing play, sliding a second too late for Ohio State to call a timeout.
I saw that.
They did it on purpose, and he admits it.
Gosh.
Now the rules will change.
See, that sounds like I have to be careful with my words. I don't even want to say his name. Ole Miss head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Those stupid fake injuries.
Yeah, I know.
Aaron, it was hideous. How many did they have?
They looked to the sidelines and then go down.
Oh, here's the signal.
Yeah.
Just during the
take a dive. Yeah. Now LSU does it too. They all are doing it now.
Not like Ole Miss.
Ole Miss is notorious. You're right.
I mean, it's part of their game plan.
Yeah. But this is like you intentionally took a penalty so the clock would continue to wind off, and it ended up winning them the game because if he had slid, got the timeout in time.
See,
that's dastardly. That's real dastardly.
Wow.
I'm going to give all credit to where credit is due. Louis Avalone said, we voted for a new police headquarters decades ago in Shreveport. Decades ago.
You were saying this was under Hightower? This goes all the way back to Bo Williams.
Yep. He's going to explain, coming up in about 10 minutes, that we had money for a new police headquarters. You had approved it. Voters had approved it decades ago, and it never happened. He's going to explain why and what happened and where did the money go.
My buddy, Lewis.
This is the newer version of Night Street, if you ask me.
This is Night Street on steroids, quite frankly.
Steroids, big time.
Because, this affects the whole city.
And I'm going to do more research on it. I'm going to go look at did we approve a bond, and did it say new police headquarters, or did it just say government buildings?
And funds got reappropriated.
Yepers.
All right, looking forward to that. Louis R. Avalone coming up. Mike and McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, and on the free KEEL app.
Let's get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
I first heard you say that police headquarters, Shreveport Police Headquarters funding goes back to the Bo Williams administration.
That's what it looks like. Louis Avalone did the work. He's going to kind of trace it for us and go back and look at what we did.
How does that even happen?
Yeah, thanks. I don't know. I don't know. And
we'll find out.
Oh,
Louis R. Avalone from American Ground Radio going to join us right after the break. 101.7 FM, 710keel.com.
Now, breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Well, I know that the wheels of government grind slowly, but what is this, 30 years? When was Bo Williams mayor? I couldn't even tell you the dates, but I mean, it's been a while.
In the 90s, yeah.
Louis R. Avalone from American Ground Radio is on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker hotline. This whole kerfuffle, if you will, about Shreveport Police Headquarters. This ain't new, is it, Louis?
No, it's really not. In fact, voters went to the polls April 20th, 1996, and they voted on the approval of a $17.5 million bond issue for public safety. And part of that was a new police building.
Whoa. I'll try not to yell. A new police headquarters building?
Essentially. And it was actually, there was a contract that was signed between Bo Williams and Shreve Land Construction, which is a local general contractor. And construction had actually already started. And when Mayor Keith Hightower took office, he effectively canceled that contract in favor of moving City Hall to N.O. Thomas Plaza. So nearly $350,000 in architecture fees that were used to design this new police building were effectively forfeited. Shreve Land Construction received almost $500,000 in cancellation fees for getting out of that contract.
Wow. We paid them to cancel the contract?
That is what was reported at the time by the Shreveport Times, and I believe that was per Mayor Keith Hightower himself.
Louis, you said construction had already started. Where? Was it going to be at another location? Where was it?
It was actually going to be where the current City Hall campus is, or the old City Hall campus was. In fact, the architect, Mike Newman, had drawn a campus-style design where you would have the municipal courthouse, you would have the police station. Later, there would be other city buildings where basically it would be a one-stop shop for folks wanting to do business with the city of Shreveport. They would all go to that one campus, and all the buildings would match. And there was a master plan that was out there. But when Mayor Keith Hightower took office, he looked at all of that and said, I don't think I like that. we'd rather move to N.O. Thomas Plaza. And so a lot of the money was basically reappropriated. And so the other part of this was that Mayor Hightower was disappointed with the general contractor, or the contract rather, because the city, he said, didn't have enough money to complete this 3-story police building. They needed another $1.7 million to make the building entirely usable. So it seemed like that they pushed it off on a budget issue and then took the money. I don't know if they took all of the $17.5 million that the voters voted on as part of a bond initiative in 1996 and made the move to N.O. Thomas, and then essentially shoved the Shreveport Police Department into the old City Hall and repurposed it as a police station.
And it was supposed to be a new building. That was supposed to be a new building there with the 17.
Well, a new building complex, apparently.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the Shreveport Times reported it at the time that Hightower was disappointed with the contract because he said there wasn't enough money to finish the building. In fact, they quoted then Police Chief Steve Prater, who said, "We've cut out everything in that budget that we possibly could cut out, and it's still over budget. I think the voters expect us to have a fully functioning facility." Now, whether or not you could find the money, $1.7 million, and at that time in the late 90s to finish the building, I guess we'll never know. But I think for whatever reason, Mayor Hightower really wanted to make this move to N.O. Thomas Plaza.
What did we spend on that? What did we spend on moving to N.O. Thomas? What did we pay for that building? What did we pay for the move and all that? Do we know?
Sure. Exactly. And again, that data is out there. But when we talk about, and you have talked about, this week, certainly with respect to the police station and the budget, it was out there already. We voted on this in April of 1996, $17.5 million.
This is like Night Street on steroids, like Mike said.
And many of the newspaper reports at the time talk about leaky roofs, talk about the deplorable conditions for the police department.
96.
I mean, it's deja vu all over again, as Yogi Berra might have said.
Oh my gosh! Now we need to be clear here, because I remember the old City Hall, which is where the police headquarters is now.
Right.
And one part of that building was City Hall, and one part of it was the police headquarters. Am I wrong?
No, I believe you are correct. And they did intend to make more space in City Hall, so with some of this money. But there was a building that was planned. For folks who might not be familiar with that area where the municipal courthouse building sits, there would be a building basically on the opposite corner of that property, where there's a little monument sign there, on the corner. That's where this new police building, the footprint of that new police building would be. And at some point, once the police department moved out of the old City Hall, and of course, there would have to be alternate offices for City Hall, that old building was planned for demolition, and a new City Hall would have been built. But again,
we were going to demo that building in 96, 97?
Well, it was part of a master plan. And with a master plan, that could be 10
I would
years
love to see that
20
plan
years.
that included multiple buildings for city court, city administration, police department. That's mind-boggling.
And interestingly enough, the architect that drew that master plan, he was engaged in a lawsuit with the city trying to collect much of the fees that he had charged the city to draw that master plan. So it was quite a mess. And why the push to N.O. Thomas? There's a number of reasons. A lot of downtown development folks really wanted N.O. Thomas to become, this seat of city government.
Well,
and of course, parish
who was
government
friends
as well.
with whom? I'm wondering on that deal.
That's a great question.
Let me ask you
It's been
something.
a long time.
Let me ask you something, Lewis, that nobody really asks. When we vote on something and we agree to give a government money for something, at what point is there a crime? Is there irregularities? Is there wrongdoing when you don't do with the money what the voters were promised? Is there a crime in that? Is there something wrong? I mean, can residents sue and say, I voted for you to do this with this money and you didn't do it?
Well, I mean, certainly that could be a cause of action or for malfeasance in office, perhaps. But, we live in the gray, right? It's not always black and white.
Mm-hmm. And
so to the extent that they reappropriated this money and did essentially give the citizens of Shreveport a quote-unquote new police station. It really wasn't new, but they reappropriated City Hall. So now the police department has new offices, right?
Yeah.
And so if they claim that they didn't have enough money to finish the building that the voters voted on, I mean, it gets into semantics. And again, anyone can justify just about anything with enough experts to prove their point.
Yeah, Santa Claus is going to bring you a bicycle for Christmas, but you get a Play-Doh bicycle. That's what Santa brought you instead.
No, it really is disappointing, and again, there just wasn't. I don't think there was the level of scrutiny that there should have been back when Hightower decided to basically can the contract that Bo Williams had signed on his way out the door.
Good stuff, Lewis. You've done a lot of work.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Lewis. Appreciate it so much. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Back with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
I know, okay, if my math is right, this is 2024, almost 2025. 1996. Is that like 28 years ago? It was like almost 30 years ago?
25 years ago. 24 and then go back 4 more.
96.
28
years
28,
ago.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying, almost 30 years ago.
Yeah, you're right. I'm don't
30 years.
Now I'm going to go back and look at the verbiage on the ballot from 96. That's the first stop you go. Let's look at what the ballot said. And then you go back and look at, in the best places, the Shreveport Times archives, if you can get into there, and look at the stories. Because the deal was, you probably won't find Knight Street on the 2011 ballot. It's not going to say Knight Street on the ballot. But in the pitch, when they went around town put these PowerPoints up, this was before PowerPoint probably, it had a list of streets. We're going to spend on these streets in this bond issue. Well, we'll go look back at what they pitched to the voters back in 96. What was pitched to the voters? What was going to be on the ballot? I mean, to spend on. And then where's that money? We could sure use that money right now to make up the difference from what the police headquarters is going to cost and what we have in the bond money for it. Because I think it's a $5 million gap. I may be wrong. But it's yet again part of the no follow-up at City Hall. When you pass bond issues, someone has to be watching. Someone has to have a list of here's what we promised the voters.
Right.
Here's where we are on each of these items.
That seems to be basic government 101.
Yes.
Be responsible with the taxpayers' money.
Absolutely. And, if you're right, we'll have to get Prater on and say, hey, you were around when this happened. What really happened with it? What happened with a new police headquarters back then? Because I was here. I remember when N.O. Thomas, they all moved to N.O. Thomas, and then they gave that whole building to the police department, and it was going to be great. The whole police department the chief gets to now take over the mayor's office. The city council chambers now becomes the Police and Fire Civil Service Board meeting room. I mean, everything was going to go to the police department. And you're going to get to expand the whole police department. You got twice the size. It was a big deal at the time. But lest we forget, and I'll have to go back and look at my notes too, because I was covering City Hall at the time. Did I miss something? Do I not remember it? I don't know. I actually had just moved, so I wasn't still doing just news then. So I had moved to a different radio station. So it was a little bit, my role was a little bit different. I wasn't as wonky as I am now.
Well, I go back to when Lewis was on, the question, who was friends with whom? Who in city government was friends with somebody in private business? I'm just asking, I'm not throwing any names out.
Yeah, it is a matter of follow the money. But for me to cancel a contract and then pay $500,000 in cancellation fees to a company for doing very little work, it's like, wow. And we were short, what, $1.7 million?
And we'd already, and what did he say? We'd already spent, what, $250,000 on the beginning of construction?
$350,000, yeah. So we essentially flushed $850,000 total, and we were short $1.7 million. So we could have had that almost all of that $1.7 million in the money we flushed.
Yeah. Well, half of it. Yeah.
Wow.
Over half.
Frustrating.
It is frustrating. Mm-hmm. It's very frustrating.
I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't. And people have short memories. That's the thing.
Goldfish.
Yeah.
Be a goldfish, Sam. 1017 FM 710 KEEL. One 1017 FM 710 KEEL. Mike and McCarty. Happy Monday.
This term limits thing in Bossier City is getting. Getting?
This has been absurd 7 chapters ago.
Right.
Much less this late. What is the latest chapter now? You said there's another one in this book.
The Bossier City Council last week passed a measure calling for term limits to be put on the ballot December 7th. And this would be term limits for anyone that gets elected after January of next year. So it wouldn't impact the current council members. They could still run and win another 12 years if they chose.
But I hope voters are paying attention to this.
Yeah, I think they are.
And even though some could be eligible and could win, I hope voters are paying attention.
Well, we were on a deadline for the Bond Commission to get this on the ballot for December 7th, like the council wanted to do. It had to be approved at their meeting yesterday. Bond Commission had a preliminary meeting yesterday, and they were going to move this forward to the December 7th ballot. That was the hope. But there were a lot of residents, including the Term Limits Coalition, who opposed it. They said the council has not followed their charter. They have had numerous violations, and this is not the term limits measure they want. They want the retroactive term limits measure. They want it to say, if you've already served 12 years, you're ineligible. Go away. Go home. So the Bond Commission meets yesterday in Baton Rouge. John Fleming is chairman. He's the state treasurer, and he chairs the Bond Commission. And he essentially said, y'all figure it out at home first, then bring it to us. You've got three different term limits things, bouncing around. One in the courts, one at the council, one by the mayor. I don't know. Y'all figure it out yourself first, then send it to us. And there's no rush to get it on the December ballot. There would be a rush to get it on the December ballot if it was retroactive. This one's not retroactive, so it doesn't have to be December now. And that's kind of what he said. He said, look, figure it out before you get the state involved. Y'all go home, toss this around, Figure it out.
Obviously, they can't get it figured out.
And you've still got the people's petition in the courts. You've got another court filing that apparently was filed yesterday that I'm not up to speed on yet. They'll send me texts and get me up to speed on it. But Mike, I don't even know it's a mess.
It is a mess. I'm like Michael Scott. You got to boil it down for me like I'm, 9 years old. And it seems to me it's very simple. The voters want to be able to choose whether or not term limits, go into effect in Bossier.
Right.
And the voters in Bossier aren't even getting that option.
Right.
They're not even getting the option to be able to select whether or not term limits go on the,
Now, opponents will tell you, and I've heard this from many people, that you're hearing the loud people say that they want term limits, that they don't know that really do the majority of Bossier voters really want term limits.
Well, and you won't know until it goes on the ballot, will you?
You're exactly right. Put it on the ballot. Let's see what the people say. And why are we avoiding getting it on the ballot? I don't get it. And I understand the retroactivity. That's never been done before. The retroactive measure's never been done before. All term limits have always been progressive, where it's in the future comes. And it's kind of like pay raises. When a city council gives pay raises to themselves, they typically give it to whoever's elected next. They don't give it to, I'm going to benefit from it. Sure. If I win again, then I get it. But, typically that's how government handles those kinds of things. But the bond commission was interesting to watch. And, hopefully we'll have John Fleming be able to join us sometime this morning. But said, y'all go home and, we're going to kick this ball back to you. Y'all figure it out. You air it up there yourself and figure out if it still bounces. And then come back and see us. So December 7th is out. It's not going to be on the ballot December 7th. We now know that. Spring ballot, the March ballot is now the earliest it could be on there. And we don't know what form it will take. We're still waiting on a court ruling. It's a mess. It is a mess, and it's nowhere near over. That's part of the problem.
That is something that I am going to be watching, these Bossier City Council elections coming up.
Right. I'm going to take the 740 segment off because Chica's coming in here. And
so you're leaving is what you're saying.
I want no part of this. I disavow this segment that's coming up, but you don't want to miss it. I'm just telling you. I'll stay in the room, but I'm kind of scared.
Well, yeah. Anytime she comes in unfettered.
And it's a really sensitive topic. And do we have lawyers on the phone? Do we have lawyers on the hotline over there, Ruben? You got our lawyer on the hotline?
Is the dump button activated?
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Okay,
Make sure we might need double dump today.
Double dump. We'll go double dump.
Double dump today. 740. Chica steps in. Craziness is coming.
Tim Fletcher's got Sports 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Let's get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
All right, Ruben mentioned during the break that there's a new Caddo Lake movie.
There is, yes, a movie about Caddo Lake. And M. Night Shyamalan, you said produced it. It seemed like an all-around Shyamalan. And I'm going to be honest with you, my brain still hurts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking up. So was it shot locally?
I believe a lot of it was shot locally, yeah. And, wow.
Because I recognize zero names in the cast.
Not a lot of big name actors. There was the one chick, one of the main characters I recognize, but I can't tell you her name. It's basically all these people who live in a community in Texas around Caddo Lake, and the whole thing is people have gone missing on Caddo Lake. It's a thing, and no, it's not ghosts or weird stuff. They drown.
Aliens.
No, they drown and get eaten by alligators. That's what happens. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Spoiler. Oh, wait a minute. Spoiler alert.
Right. Yeah.
But no, this
If
movie.
you haven't seen it.
This movie will have you. baffled for a little while. Everything kind of becomes clear at the end, but it still involves a lot of thinking. But the plot is basically people go missing on Caddo Lake, and they give you just the oddest workaround reason why. And so the main character, it follows the main character, two main characters. And they're each existing in different times. And eventually they meet up in the same timeline.
My brain doesn't work that way.
Just explaining it is hard enough. It was one of the wildest movies I've ever seen. Well shot, well acted, everything was good.
So the quality was good.
Quality was great.
See, that's important. If you're watching something and it's cheesy and it looks like it was, shot on an iPhone.
Sure.
Right.
And the acting is bad.
No,
it's hard to stay with it. But if you say that those things are good.
It was well shot, and I never wanted to turn it off. Like I never, said to hell with this.
So is this at the theaters or is it?
It's on Max. It's streaming on Max right now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is streaming on Max.
I can watch it then.
Are they showing it at the Robinson too? Did I see that?
I think they did.
Okay.
Like when it first premiered, I think they did show it at the Robinson, but now it's all on Max. If you have Max, if you're streaming Max, you can watch it.
Okay, I'm coming over to your house tonight.
Yeah, come on over.
Right.
I'll heat up a DiGiorno.
Okay. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. Dylan O'Brien, Eliza Scanlon.
Is it gory?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's not gory. It's not gross. It's not like a gross out horror movie.
Kind of spooky?
It's spooky at times, but most of the time it's bench pressing for your brain.
Oh, wait a minute. I worked with this guy.
Oh, wow.
Sam Hennings. He played Ben.
Okay.
Okay. He was in the very short-lived Memphis Beat that was on TNT several years ago.
Sorry, I missed it.
I remember Memphis Beat.
Jason Lee.
Yeah. Yep.
Played a detective in Memphis, obviously. And
pro skateboarder Jason Lee. Yeah.
Right. I had a great time. I was there for several days. We shot in New Orleans. It was an episode of Memphis Beat. It's supposed to be Memphis. But Sam Hennings played his partner on the Memphis PD.
Okay. I thought he looked familiar. Yeah. Again, there are a few actors that you'll definitely recognize.
And we had scenes together. So I was like, oh, cool. Look at Sam here. Wonder if he'd remember me, but we had a great time.
There are actors that you'll recognize, but you won't know their names. It's a lot of those kind of actors, and really, I think that plays in its favor that they didn't go with any crazy big stars. I think it works that way. I'm not saying don't watch it. I'm just saying get your brain right before you.
Well, how do you do that?
Do some Sudoku. Put together a jigsaw puzzle.
Some of your gummies.
Some
gummies. About 4 or 5 gummies, and you should be just right to do it.
Oh, wait a minute. This girl is, she's the one that plays Billy Bob Thornton's daughter in Goliath.
Okay, I never saw Goliath.
Diana Hopper.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so look, I recognize another one.
It's an interesting movie. It's got some interesting twists and turns. But basically this girl's sister gets lost on Caddo Lake, and it follows the family while they're trying to find the missing girl.
Well, Caddo Lake's beautiful, so just the scenery alone has got to be gorgeous.
And
it's actually huge. I mean,
it's a monster lake.
And it's, over in East Texas, it's so...
It's where Bigfoot hangs out, right?
That's where Bigfoot hangs out, and that's his house. Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because when I first saw this and saw even the poster, I'm thinking Legend of Boggy Creek.
Right.
That's what came to my mind.
Yeah,
right. It's nothing what you're thinking.
Okay.
Right.
Well, now you've got me intrigued.
Yeah, it's nothing what you're thinking. Again, just... have your brain right. Go by Good Day Pharmacy.
Chica is going to weigh in on how corporate America makes some silly decisions, Is she on the side of corporate America?
You have to wonder if this was intentional, because you know they had meetings. They had marketing meetings. There had to be an ad firm involved.
How did you approve this? Chica's weighing in. I'm going to sit back and listen.
Just an
because
FYI.
I'm scared of the lawyers.
That's coming up after the news, which is next. 101.7 FM 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Now more breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
$2. What we haven't mentioned is the utter collapse of the New Orleans Saints.
I know. And of course the Cowboys too.
Well, yeah, Well,
the Saints were decimated. I mean, we had nobody's playing. We had a backup quarterback, a ton of people hurt. So I'm not as hugely disappointed by that as
but
if
we
I'm
haven't
a Cowboys.
won a game even when we had Derek Carr. The Saints haven't won a game since the Cowboys game.
Yeah, I know.
Now, they went out in style, boy.
Mm-hmm. And the Cowboys, God bless them. Man.
Wow.
Whew, happy birthday, Jerry Jones. They got slaughtered. Unbelievable.
Well, yeah. All right.
Who in corporate America thought this was a good idea? Who in this room thought bringing Chica in to talk about it was a good idea?
Well, I will say, people are talking.
Oh, yeah, they are.
People are talking. Mm-hmm. You will find out coming up right after the break. Mike and McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, and on the free KEEL app.
Back to the big stories of the day with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
By the way, a message on the Shreveport Security Systems message board, Charlie B. from Marshall says, the Cowboys are in a rebuild year for the next 2 years.
Okay, whatever. I'm getting out of here now. I disavow this segment completely.
Oh, no.
Okay, I got to say, when you first came in and talked about this and you told me KFC, what they've got a new product.
I want you to read that.
And it's okay.
Read it out loud.
What just this?
Welcome to just imagine the commercial. I need you to put on because people pay you a lot of money.
Oh,
I don't know if people know this. People pay you a lot of money. That's why I'm in here.
Do it in your commercial voice.
So people pay you a whole lot of money to read things for them. And I want you to be KFC introduces the new, and then I want you to read what it is. Go ahead.
Well, let me see if I can find something that would be copy-worthy.
No.
KFC introduces their new cherry pie poppers. This dessert is filled with warm cherry pie filling and wrapped in a buttery, flaky crust. Cherry pie poppers look like small cherry pies.
Okay, wait.
Bite-sized treats.
Cherry pie poppers.
Cherry pie poppers.
Who thought that was okay?
Now, when you first said that, I thought, what's wrong with that? Cherry pie poppers. Sounds delicious.
Well, cherry popper.
Then I know I figured it out.
In the room.
I just want to know.
Yeah. Cherry pie. Yeah.
I just want to know, who in their right mind? First off, I think that this is why God has put me here and not because I think marketing is my calling. I know it is.
Okay.
Right? I love marketing. But this is the sick stuff that I would do. I would sell it to a bunch of people.
As a joke.
Yeah.
Right.
And then see how far I could take it and then realize, ooh, who's that fine man?
Somebody let this get through.
Yeah, it was a joke that went too far. Think about it. It's like
it had to have been intentional. But look, like I said, it worked. We're talking about it. Little radio show in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Are they really
craving a cherry pie popper? It's been so long since I've had a cherry pie popper. See?
Could you imagine talking about that in a room with mixed company? I want to go get. I'm not even going to say the words out loud because it sounds too crude.
Right.
It's a dessert. What are you talking about, crude?
It sounds delicious.
Look at that cream-filled goodness.
It looks delicious.
Exactly. Would you eat a cherry pie popper?
Now, I remember, and I wondered if they still do. Remember the Hostess fruit pies? Those.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
But
My
wait,
favorite
no.
was the cherry
They're called
Hostess
the
fruit pie.
LGBTQ community now.
Stop it. Take me inside
But
the
they do
corporate
still make the
room
Hostess
where
fruit
this
pies,
decision was made to approve the name of this
I'm telling you right now, it
product.
went too far.
It's a joke that
It's
nobody
a joke.
caught?
This is like,
How dense are they?
have you seen?
I mean, they cannot
we
be
had
unaware.
a meeting not long ago where we got called out. Right, stuff was called out. You all looked at me thinking I was the violator.
Well, you had to be.
Okay, no, I wasn't actually. People are so everybody's so quick to get offended nowadays, right? And so this is what I think happened. This is what I think happened. I think some idiot like me, some idiot millennial was in the marketing meeting and said, "What about a cherry pie popper?" And somebody said, "That's great. Let's do it." And then
Some boomer said, "Well, that sounds good. That
Yes.
sounds delicious."
Put a bow on it. Sell it quick. We need to start selling dessert quick. We got to compete against McDonald's and Taco Bell. And,
Yes.
and so then they're like, crap, do I say anything? And then do you have that awkward conversation like, hey,
This is a little risque. This is a little out there.
You know, like it's,
Is it a thing yet? I mean, is it out there yet?
Yeah, they're
I'm
there.
I'm gonna go
they're
get me
it.
some cherry
you can
pie
get
poppers.
It in 4 or 8 or 12-piece cherry pie poppers.
And it's just a dessert you buy at KFC. And they called them cherry pie poppers?
I'm just saying, a lot of us haven't, never mind, I
Lisa
can't make that
inserted
joke on the air. Because I'll get booted from
pie.
here.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is I really do think it's a joke that went too far. Am I going to go eat it so I could tell everybody I had my cherry pie popper fixed today? Absolutely. Will I bring you guys some into the studio? Probably.
Yes.
Should we eat it live on air? Absolutely.
Okay, but look, not good for KFC. On the other hand, one wasn't nearly, and I'm reading the article on Yahoo Life, wasn't nearly as impressed after trying the cherry pie poppers for themselves. Quote, "They're horrible. Hardly any filling. They went in the garbage."
Okay. See, if they're not good, they're
If
going to
they're
fail.
not good.
How are you going to sell us a cherry pie
How do
popper
you
without
me-
any cream?
How do you mess up a cherry pie, though? The Hostess cherry. I go back to the Hostess fruit pies. The cherry pie was my favorite.
Well, I just know Beavis and Butthead's going to try them all day.
I'm not trying to be funny. I seriously. Now I can't talk about it seriously.
You can't. How are you? Seriously, Ruben, pull
But
up
they
to the
didn't call
window
them.
and order. I want
No.
you in your Beavis voice to order cherry pie poppers.
Welcome to KFC. What can we get for you today?
They wouldn't stop laughing. They would just be Beavis and Butthead laughing into the drive-thru.
There's a big line behind y'all. Can y'all please order now?
Yeah.
Now I really want to
man.
try them.
I will try them, but I'm like, corporate America just amazes me these days. How so many of these things happen.
I'm telling you,
A joke that went too far, homie.
they're getting exactly what they wanted.
all the publicity in the world.
Okay, sell it to me one more time.
Do it
Sell me.
in your really
Come on,
good
come on.
voice.
Come on, that voice that people pay. I called Margaritaville the other day.
I've already shut down the cup.
No. I called
You can make
Margaritaville the
that
other
up.
day, and it was like, "Welcome to Margaritaville." Ho, ho, ho. I don't know why I went Santa. But anyway, it was your voice. And I was like, I know him. Or commercials, come on, one more time. Just
Real
tell me,
quick,
cherry
we gotta go.
pie popper.
Cherry pie poppers at KFC. Now available. Must be 18 or over.
Now I'm Beavis and Butthead.
1017 FM. Get up.
Back Mike and McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
Well, I was out of town since last Thursday, so I've missed a lot. Apparently, there are free candles on Uri Drive. Is that what I'm seeing?
No, they're not free.
They are. They are to these ladies. I say ladies. Let me rephrase that. These women. Grace and
Criminals.
Butcher. Criminals. Mm-hmm. Grace and Butcher posted a video of and I apologize if you guys talked about this already. Two women in was it Bath and Body Works on Uri Drive? Just walked in and loaded up bags full of
Yeah, big old duffel bags.
candles.
Full of candles and just strolled out. There's video of it. You can see other customers kind of looking at them like, what are y'all doing? Just thinking.
And they didn't rush in. And, I mean, they're going through and selecting the ones they want.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of the shelves were cleared. Grayson Butcher posted it, and he said it's accurate because he and his wife went into that store shortly after it happened. And it was there was limited selection.
I mean, they're going around. I'm looking at this now. They're going around another customer who's looking at them aghast. Mm-hmm. Just almost pushing him out of the way, loading up candles. I'm assuming those are candles. Yeah, J-wick candle.
I hope
no 3-wick candle.
I hope police catch them. That's all I'm saying. I hope they get enough attention and police are able to identify these women and lock them up.
I mean, they got multiple bags. This one lady can't hold. She's got 3 bags.
Mm-hmm.
Good
loaded
gravy.
And they just stroll out like another day at the office.
And this is in Shreveport. This is on Uri Drive in Shreveport. Mm-hmm. This is not San Francisco or Detroit.
Nope. Chicago.
Or Baltimore.
Mm-mm. Right here.
Well, we're a
and you know what
Democrat-run
happens
city.
when you go buy a candle now? Prices are going to have to go up because they got to account for the theft. It's real
lady
sad.
just standing there watching them. Looks like she might have said something. Okay, the first one just walked out.
Unreal.
Just walked out carrying multiple huge bags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. It's very sad.
One has a mask on.
Yeah.
Yeah, a mask. Wow.
They wear masks now to disguise themselves.
Absolutely. Sure,
you
of
don't
course.
get to see a good look at my face, and you won't be able to figure out who I am. I hope they catch them. I hope this is absolute. And it may be only a few $100s. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's just the gall to walk in there and just
no respect.
Go get a job.
No respect.
Go go earn your pay. I'm getting to this day in time when I've been working, all my life since I was in my early 20s, getting up at ungodly hours every day. Rarely do I call in sick.
Same here. I work 2 full-time jobs, basically.
I work my tail off, and I earn my living. And I have earned my living all my life. And to think people think it's just okay to just wander in and just steal just because I can and nobody's going to do anything about it and we don't have enough police officers to come catch me or they'll defer my prosecution. It's just ridiculous. State Treasurer John Fleming, who's chairman of the Bond Commission, joining us after the local news, talking about Bossier term limits, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Well, Bossier term limits once again in the news. This is chapter 37 of an 80-chapter book, it looks like. Apparently. Yeah. Well, I was gone. The latest iteration, they went to the state for help, apparently. Well, the city council sent a resolution to the Bond Commission, which it has to go to the Bond Commission to get on the ballot. And the deadline was yesterday's meeting for the Bond Commission. John Fleming, state treasurer, is chairman of the Bond Commission. This resolution hit your desk, and you're kind of the opinion of y'all need to work this out up there first. Well, yeah, that's really the net of it all. I listened to both sides prior to and also during the Bond Commission meeting, and it appears that a citizens group some months ago pushed for term limits for the city council of Bossier. Some have been there for decades, and I guess they felt that, like legislators and other politicians in office, like the governor, that there needs to be term limits. So they launched this, as you know, months ago. But I think that from what I'm getting from both sides is that the city council sort of took it from there, created a commission, and it boiled down to 2 versions of term limits. One would be the typical one, which is prospective. That is, 3 terms begin, as soon as
I guess, with the next election. But what the citizens wanted is a retroactive term limit, which would be you serve 12 years, which would be 3 terms. And if you've already served that much, you would be ineligible for another election, and that is a ban for life. So there's some on there, of course, who would not be able to run for election. And so that's been the to and fro. There's been a lot of litigation in the background. But look, the role of the Bond Commission is to make sure that the specifications of the application for election are meet the criteria necessary, the laws necessary, and they did. But the problem is that there's a question of really which version should be presented to the Bond Commission, and I just don't think it's ripe. The Commission didn't think it was ripe, and that it was important to let this battle continue until there's a settlement or resolution in some way, and then they can come back. This is not an emergency. It doesn't have to be in the very next ballot. It could be in the one after that. So we decided, we three on the subcommittee decided to defer this until such time as they have resolved this issue among themselves.
Now, who got to speak before the Bond Commission? Y'all don't just hear from the public. You took written emails, statements, but you did hear from, I believe, the assistant city attorney. Is that right?
Yes. He was there, and there was an attorney, so-called outside attorney that was speaking for them as well, from Judell Foley. And then on the citizen side, there were 2 citizens, one David Crockett and the other Duke
Lowry.
Lowry, yes. And those were the only ones who spoke.
Now, my concern was to you, and I should have called you yesterday and asked, if you approve this and put it on the December ballot, and then the people's petition wins later in the courts, and they have to put that on the ballot, we could have dueling ballots. We could have a December ballot, and then we could have a March ballot that would negate what happened in December. I mean, we could be in a mess, right?
Oh, good grief.
Well, yeah, absolutely, and I'm concerned about that. And really, that was the point that the city council representatives made, is, look, let's go ahead and get this on the ballot. We'll get term limits, but they won't be the term limits that the citizens want. But they can move forward with their petition, and then there could be a later election, and they can decide whether they want to keep it the way it would be with the first ballot or with the second ballot. But the problem with that is, and as I stated there, is one of the most fundamental rights of you and me as Americans is our right to petition our government. And I'm concerned, and I don't know for sure, and litigation will determine this, finders of fact, that somehow the citizens may have been pushed aside, and this thing was overtaken by the members of the city council. I don't know that that's the case, but out of concern and fear that it could be, and then we don't know until the litigation is finished, that's why we decided to defer this. Let this get resolved. And I think everybody really would agree that the safest thing is to have one ballot on one issue, but there are 2 competing approaches to this. One, a prospective term limit, and the other is a retroactive term limit, and that simply needs to be resolved. So our choices were only either to approve, not approve, based on, again, not meeting specifications, or to delay or defer, if you will, which is what we chose to do until this thing is resolved in the courts.
Let me ask you something, John Fleming. The city attorney that sat before you, did you ask him, are you trying to supersede the petition of the residents? Did that come up, and what was his response?
Well, I didn't ask him that specifically, but I did ask this question. I said, well, who initiated this whole idea? Did this come from the citizens or from the city council? And in a roundabout way, he admitted that it came from the citizens. So that would imply there's certainly an inference that could be drawn there that what may be happening, and again, I say maybe because I'm not a finder of fact, I'm not a judge, but that the citizens initiated this. They wanted a retroactive, a more severe, restrictive set of term limits, and knowing that they were going to lose on this, the city council, or at least some members of it, chose to block or not recognize the petition. I think the claim was made that it was flawed. It was not perfected as it should be. Again, I don't know one way or another on that. And that they decided instead to do a commission. Well, if I understand correctly, they picked the commission members. Mm-hmm. So that means they could influence the outcome. So given all of these questions and no resolution, in fact, there was actually a request to the court yesterday morning before our meeting for a temporary restraining order, not against us, but against Bossier moving forward. It was not signed as of yesterday, so I don't know if it's in effect. But look, with all this litigation going back and forth, I don't think it would be responsible for us to go ahead and put it on the ballot until this is resolved.
Yeah,
it sounds to me if Bossier wants changes, they're going to have to make those changes at the election. Mm-hmm. And they're going to have to clean house and get people in that support the way they think.
Well, as I say, once again, I deeply believe in the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, which is the right of the people to petition their government. And I think we have to respect that above everything. Mm. And only the courts can tell us, after having heard both sides and finding the facts, whether or not the petition should have moved forward rather than been pushed aside. And so I think the responsible thing for us to do is not to decide that matter, because we don't have the power to do so, or the ability, really, but is to let the courts sift this out and determine really who has the motion that is going to carry the day and make it to the ballot. That's a battle that's going on in Bossier City today.
Yep.
John Fleming, Chairman of the Bond Commission, State Treasurer, thanks for weighing in. We appreciate your time.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
By the way, I'm going to rework my contract.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to get Fridays and Mondays.
You like that
from
idea?
now on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You work on that.
Is that a problem?
Then I'll get Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. I'll
okay.
get 2 weekends.
Yeah.
I like that. A big meeting today. Caddo School Board. They are deciding who should be serving to fill the District 7 seat. If you remember, Darren Dixon resigned from the board at the end of September. We now know there are 4 applicants who have tossed their hat into the ring. Former City Councilman Jerry Bowman has asked to serve. Carla Bunton has got an education background. Pamela Jackson, a former educator and department chair. And Linda Raspberry Smith, a retired teacher and librarian. They have all put their applications in. What will happen today during the 2:30 meeting is there'll be like 10 minutes for each candidate to get up and discuss themselves, their qualifications, and why they want to serve. And then the board will take a vote, and the person will serve until a special election is held March 29th. Qualifying for that election takes place in January. Scott and I talked a little bit about this yesterday. He was of the opinion, and I am too, when you appoint someone to serve in an interim position, mm-hmm. You almost want to ask them not to agree not to run, because it gives them an unfair advantage, in the race if they're going to run. They already kind of have they know what's going on the board. They kind of have a heads up of who are big donors, who can really help me, who gets involved. but I don't know that it's not mandatory and probably won't happen in this case. I'm hearing that Jerry Bowman's got kind of the inside track to land the seat, but I don't know. I need to text him and find out, is he interested in running for the seat in March? Would he agree not to run? Would he just want to fill this position? I think he probably wants to run. So, if they give him the seat, appoint him to the seat, does it give him an unfair advantage? Some would say, yeah, I kind of think it does, but we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see how the interviews go. And, I don't know if the board's already kind of made up their mind, if they've are they going to listen to the interviews? I hope they listen to the interviews and see who's best qualified to serve. So
there's 6 candidates?
4.
4.
Mm-hmm. 4 candidates. The decision will be made today. And
they're going to get 10 minutes?
10 minutes each.
That's actually a long time to stand up and speak.
Well, they're probably going to ask them questions, back and forth. There'll be a little back and forth. It is all in open session, so the public can show up and, listen, and you probably get a chance, since it's a board meeting, I guess you get a chance to address the board before they start the process. But, the Caddo School Board's been doing things pretty much out in the open. There are some who say, I disagree completely with that. But, all the process with Keith Burton was, wide open. But folks will say, we think the fix was in way ahead of time on that. But, I don't know. But we'll watch today and see, who's going to get named the new board member, and will they run in March? I probably think they will.
So they're going to name today?
Name today.
Yeah. Okay.
After today's interviews, they'll pick somebody of those 4, and they will be sworn in immediately, and they'll take their seat on the board, and we'll watch and see what they do.
Interesting. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Now more breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
I thought this was fascinating. Earlier this morning, you said police headquarters funding actually goes back to the Bo Williams administration.
Unbelievable, yeah.
That is unbelievable. Aaron, that's almost 30 years ago. Oh, my gosh. Louis R. Avalone from American Ground Radio did some research on this. He'll explain right after the break. 101.7 FM, 710KEEL.com.
Back with more Party on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Well, I know that the wheels of government grind slowly, but what is this, 30 years?
Wow.
When was Bo Williams mayor? I couldn't even tell you the dates, but I mean, it's been a while.
In the 90s, yeah.
Louis R. Avalone from American Ground Radio is on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker hotline. This whole kerfuffle, if you will, about Shreveport Police Headquarters. This ain't new, is it, Louis?
No, it's really not. In fact, voters went to the polls April 20th, 1996, and they voted on the approval of a $17.5 million bond issue for public safety. And part of that was a new police building.
Whoa. I'll try not to yell. A new police headquarters building?
Essentially. And it was actually, there was a contract that was signed between Bo Williams and Shreve Land Construction, which is a local general contractor. And construction had actually already started. And when Mayor Keith Hightower took office, he effectively canceled that contract in favor of moving City Hall to N.O. Thomas Plaza. So nearly $350,000 in architecture fees that were used to design this new police building were effectively forfeited. Shreve Land Construction received almost $500,000 in cancellation fees for getting out of that contract.
Wow. We paid them to cancel the contract?
That is what was reported at the time by the Shreveport Times, and I believe that was per Mayor Keith Hightower himself.
Lou, she said construction had already started. Where? Was it going to be at another location? Where was it?
It was actually going to be where the current City Hall campus is, or the old City Hall campus was. In fact, the architect, Mike Newman, had drawn a campus-style design where you would have the municipal courthouse, you would have the police station. Later, there would be other city buildings where basically it would be a one-stop shop for folks wanting to do business with the city of Shreveport. They would all go to that one campus, and all the buildings would match, and there was a master plan that was out there. But when Mayor Keith Hightower took office, he looked at all of that and said, I don't think I like that. We'd rather move to N.O. Thomas Plaza. And so a lot of the money was basically reappropriated. And so the other part of this was that Mayor Hightower was disappointed with the general contractor, or the contract, rather, because the city, he said, didn't have enough money to complete this 3-story police building. They needed another $1.7 million to make the building entirely usable. So it seemed like that they pushed it off on a budget issue and then took the money. I don't know if they took all of the $17.5 million that the voters voted on as part of a bond initiative in 1996 and made the move to N.O. Thomas, and then essentially shoved the Shreveport Police Department into the old City Hall and repurposed it as a police station.
And it was supposed to be a new building. That was supposed to be a new building there with the 17.
Well, a new building complex, apparently.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the Shreveport Times reported it at the time that Hightower was disappointed with the contract because he said there wasn't enough money to finish the building. In fact, they quoted then Police Chief Steve Prater, who said, "We've cut out everything in that budget that we possibly could cut out, and it's still over budget. I think the voters expect us to have a fully functioning facility." Now, whether or not you could find the money, $1.7 million, and at that time in the late 90s to finish the building, I guess we'll never know. But I think for whatever reason, Mayor Hightower really wanted to make this move to N.O. Thomas Plaza.
What did we spend on that? What did we spend on moving to N.O. Thomas? What did we pay for that building? What did we pay for the move and all that? Do we know?
Sure. Exactly. And again, that data is out there. But when we talk about, and you have talked about, this week, certainly with respect to the police station and the budget, it was out there already. We voted on this in April of 1996, $17.5 million.
This is like Night Street on steroids, like Mike said.
And many of the newspaper reports at the time talk about leaky roofs, talk about the deplorable conditions for the police department.
96.
I mean, it's deja vu all over again, as Yogi Berra might have said.
Oh my gosh! Now we need to be clear here, because I remember the old City Hall, which is where the police headquarters is now.
Right.
And one part of that building was City Hall, and one part of it was the police headquarters. Am I wrong?
No, I believe you are correct. And they did intend to make more space in City Hall, so with some of this money. But there was a building that was planned. For folks who might not be familiar with that area where the municipal courthouse building sits, there would be a building basically on the opposite corner of that property, where there's a little monument sign there, on the corner. That's where this new police building, the footprint of that new police building would be. And at some point, once that once the police department moved out of the old city hall, and of course, they would have to be alternate offices for City Hall. That old building was planned for demolition, and a new City Hall would have been built. But again,
we were going to demo that building in 96, 97?
Well, it was part of a master plan. And with a master plan, that could be 10
I would
years
love to see that
20
plan
years.
that included multiple buildings for city court, city administration, police department. That's mind-boggling.
And interestingly enough, the architect that drew that master plan, he was engaged in a lawsuit with the city trying to collect much of the fees that he had charged the city to draw that master plan. So it was quite a mess. And why the push to N.O. Thomas? There's a number of reasons. A lot of downtown development folks really wanted N.O. Thomas to become, this seat of city government.
Well,
and of course, parish
who was
government
friends
as well.
with whom, I'm wondering, on that deal?
That's a great question.
Let me ask you
It's been
something.
a long time.
Let me ask you something, Lewis, that nobody really asks. When we vote on something and we agree to give a government money for something, at what point is there a crime? Is there irregularities? Is there wrongdoing when you don't do with the money what the voters were promised? Is there a crime in that? Is there something wrong? I mean, can residents sue and say, I voted for you to do this with this money and you didn't do it?
Well, I mean, certainly that could be a cause of action or for malfeasance in office, perhaps. But, we live in the gray, right? It's not always black and white. Mm-hmm. And so to the extent that they reappropriated this money and did essentially give the citizens of Shreveport a quote-unquote new police station. It really wasn't new, but they reappropriated City Hall. So now the police department has new offices, right?
Yeah.
And so if they claim that they didn't have enough money to finish the building that the voters voted on, I mean, it gets into semantics. And again, anyone can justify just about anything with enough experts to prove their point.
Yeah, Santa Claus is going to bring you a bicycle for Christmas, but you get a Play-Doh bicycle. That's what Santa brought you instead.
No, it really is disappointing, and again, there just wasn't. I don't think there was the level of scrutiny that there should have been back when Hightower decided to basically can the contract that Bo Williams had signed on his way out the door.
Good stuff, Lewis. You've done a lot of work.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Lewis. Appreciate it so much. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Let's get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.7 FM.
Oh, kumbaya. No, you cannot have Fridays and Mondays off going forward. That's not allowed.
Okay.
It's not allowed unless I get Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays off.
Well, that defeats the whole purpose.
Then we'd never be here together. It'd be the Reuben show.
We need to do what all the late night shows have done. They don't do Friday shows anymore.
Oh, wow.
They all do. Remember Johnny Carson started that years ago.
Yeah, no kidding. Johnny Carson had he had like 6 months off out of a 12, poor thing. He worked his behind off, right?
Well, he did, getting to that point. Come on.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm getting to that stage now, though. Both of us. We've been doing this a hot minute.
We've been doing this a hot minute. A long time.
A long time.
Not this particular for me, not this particular job.
Yep.
But,
what are you doing? You listening to Taylor Swift over there?
Taylor Swift? That's not Taylor Swift.
Oh, who was that? Who was that?
It's the theme song from Luther.
Oh, sorry. I don't know Luther. My bad.
I hope I didn't send that.
Have y'all, either one of you, watched Matlock yet? Finally?
Oh, no, I haven't watched it yet.
I saw the first episode.
Isn't it incredible?
It was pretty interesting. Yeah, it was wild.
The ending alone is brilliant. It's brilliant.
It's pretty outrageous, and Kathy Bates does a pretty good job.
If you haven't seen, and I was on CBS. It's a CBS show, I think.
Yeah.
And it's
How
not
did you stream it?
I found it on Hulu.
Okay.
I think. I'm pretty sure,
I think it is on Hulu. It is an amazing show. I'm not pitching it. I mean, it sounds like it's a commercial for that, but well written, well done.
Okay.
And an ending that is a shocker.
What, that one episode?
One episode ending is a shocker.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I've been dying for, when is episode 2? I think it's this week. So.
It's coming out, yeah. I think
Yeah.
I just saw it advertised on one
Now
of
I
the
know
TVs
there's
in
a
here.
twist.
Oh, talk about a twist. Talk
don't
about
tell me
it.
that.
Oh, man. Yeah, a great twist.
You still probably won't see it coming.
You will not see this one coming. You won't.
Well, now I won't even be able to focus because all I'll be thinking about, did he do it?
What could it be? What could it
Did he
be?
do
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Did he do it? Who's that?
It's amazing.
I tell you what I don't like is these murder mysteries where the killer is somebody that wasn't even involved in anything. It's like this
Yeah.
character. It's like before. Wait, what?
I know. I'm getting a little, I'm a huge Law and Order fan.
I've never seen it. I've never seen Law and Order. Never seen an episode.
It's literally all that's on regular TV now.
Well, I-
During the
it's
day, it's all they
everywhere.
show.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, along with the court shows. But I mean, it's now getting predictable. You can kind of figure out, I know who did it. I know who did it. I know who did it. But if you were to pick an iconic, what's the noise they use at the beginning of Law and Order? The jingle or whatever you call it.
Gong.
Yeah,
Like that
That
noise,
is
yeah.
the most iconic.
Yeah. And you know what that is.
I know what that
immediately,
is,
yeah.
and I've never even seen it.
Yeah, you know exactly what it is. You know the Netflix thing. What's the Netflix sound?
It's kind of close to that.
It's
the
close,
same.
yeah.
It's the same-ish.
It's like, those sounds for what shows they go with. And I'm like, wow. Yeah, my parents were huge Law and Order fans. Loved that show. Big time.
Law
and I'm
and
hooked
Order.
on it, too. I don't like all the CVU and all that. I like the original
The original
stuff,
Law
which
and
was
Order.
So good. So good.
Great
anyway,
stuff.
watch Matlock. You're going to love
Matlock.
it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Matlock.
Yes.
And what is that? Is it a new show? I know. We're out of time.
Matlock and Caddo Lake. Give them a watch.
Yes.
101.7 FM 710 KEEL.